Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. BG on game day. NRL Supercoach back again for another week. As always, you're joined by your special host, Bogan, and myself. Bogan, how are we, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright, Breno. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, mate. Another week of Supercoach. Done and dusted. Round 23 in review. Round 24 in preview. You want to talk about it, or a terrible week for yourself, just like me?
Um, well, it seems like the scores were quite low for this week, so I stuck to my average, just over 1,000. So it seemed to be a pretty decent week compared to some people.
Yeah, well, you outscored me. I only scored 956. It was a bit of a shocker, really. So, yeah, Tommy obviously didn't end up playing, and it made mean the captaincy option's a little bit interesting, which is nice for once. Teddy ended up probably being the biggest one of the weekend, and I think plenty of people had it on him. So an awesome captain choice there for anyone that jumped on old Teddy. But I saw a lot of people chucking it on KP and Dewey, which didn't end up coming to fruition. So, yeah, look, big week. 2 weeks to go. I think majority of drafts will have grand finals this week. Next week, we've got grand final qualifiers in head-to-head for Classic League. So it's all happening. And unfortunately, just 2 weeks left to go for the season, Bogues, until finals. So it's
Unfortunately, he says. I'm looking forward to a break, mate. Get my Tuesday nights back.
well, I will miss the footy regardless. I obviously don't.
It's always and we don't have Josh King tonight to be cynical with me, but it's a bit of a marathon. So those last few steps can be the hardest ones. And then the off season hits, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. And then you get raring to go again by the time the next season comes around. You start hearing those whispers of what's going on.
Look, mate, there's no illusions here. You do a lot more preparation before each show each week, so a fair bit more of your time you'll get back from me. I'll just sort of make sure the kids are quiet enough and roll up on the chair and see what happens. But
yeah, I've got it down to a bit of a fine art now, especially considering now I don't put any effort into the thumbnails.
no, love your work, love your work.
I wish they still had cheerleaders, because I'd be putting a cheerleader of the week in the thumbnail, because then that would get the viewers in.
True, that's true. Maybe I'll have to pull out some old big leagues and pull out some of the cheerleader profiles from the.
Yeah.
I'm sure I got some of them laying around.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be able to find them online.
Anyway, good evening, everyone in the chat. Shieldsy, I can see you the first one in the comment, mate. How are you across the well, it's not the ditch, across a few oceans there over in Ireland. Hope you're well, mate. Thanks for joining in as always. At this point of the year, probably not much happening. A lot of people probably falling off the horse, Bogan. If you're doing well, you're probably still going pretty hard. But if you're sort of where I am, probably a lot of people that aren't avid super coaches have probably dropped off the bandwagon. But anyway, a couple of weeks to go. We will see what happens, and we'll jump straight into reviewing round 23 if you want.
First up, fuck the Titans.
And fuck the Titans. It was Melbourne getting the job done, 34-20. I think Titans started better of the two, scored first, and a little bit of a contest there. But yeah, Melbourne going on with it in the end, pretty comfortable there. Addo Carr obviously dominating with 136. I think he scored a hat trick in there.
And I noticed on the old Twitter that Josh Addo Carr caused you to lose a semi-final in a draft league.
Well, we can talk about that actually before we get into
the Ultimate Fantasy Sports or whatever it was called.
No. So I'm in a shout out to Fig Jam Dynasty Sports. So that's the one Shano does with a couple of boys, Tommy and Rowdy. Shout out to Tom. I played him in a grand final qualifier in another draft league of theirs. They run a dynasty league, so it's a keeper one, Bogues, and Tommy had throughout the week about 7 blokes ruled out, and because it's a keeper league, you don't dump all your players, you just hold on to them. And anyway, he ended up beating me with 9 players in draft, and I had a full team of 13. So I think he beat me by 10 points in the end, and it was a comedy of errors on my side of the park. But I can't really excuse it considering he only had 9 players. So Well done to Tommy. Shout out to Fig Jam. Jump on and check out those boys on Spotify, Fig Jam Dynasty Sports. I think getting into the NFL season shortly, Bogues. They're big NFL boys. I'm jumping in on a bit of that this year. I've got no idea what's going on. I've got blokes offering me trades, and I just have no idea who anyone is. But yeah, shout out to Tommy and the Fig Jam boys, and good luck in the final, Tommy. If anyone's going to knock me off, mate, I'm glad it's you. Thanks for bringing that up, Bogues.
I did say on the Twitter when he tweeted it out, I noticed it was the typical blue and red, and Brenton. It's like, that's got to be Hampton. So I did make a note to take the shit out of you for that. As for the NFL,
yeah, I think I'll have
that Seppo bullshit.
I'll have post-traumatic stress from that draft result for a while. I reckon I'll never feel safe playing draft again after that one. But anyway, it was a good bit of fun. But yeah, it was Addo-Carr and Munster that were the ringleaders in some of that to start, and then they did score well. Paps was a good return, 101, but some good scores, across the park there from some of their heavy guys. Harry Grant as well was another heavy target to finish the last couple of weeks, so he rewarded owners there with the start with Brendan Smith missing. Nico Hines was neither here nor there at halfback, 51 points. You'll take it. Interesting with team list this week's throwing up a few curveballs with some guys. We'll get to that. And on the Titans side of the park, it was Greg Marzou who top scored with a 73, and Jaden Campbell actually scored a double and only scored 64 points. But geez, Bogues, he looks like a brilliant footballer, young Jaden. He just doesn't look fake.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh, mate, absolutely. He's a bit taller than the old man, but
that's what his old man lacked.
Yeah, he's going to be a brilliant footballer. I think I've heard something coming out of that game that they'll probably be looking to move AJ Brimson into 5'8" next season to accommodate Jaden Campbell at fullback, because he's just
good to see.
He's that good.
Good to see a bit of legacy going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, Melbourne getting the job done pretty convincingly. Pretty disappointing there from Dave Fafita as well. I think started the game, ended up getting hooked for a bit as well. Went back on. So, again, the Fafita debacle continues. I don't know what's going on there, but probably not much else in that one, Bogues. For classic wides, as I said, got very minimal trades. I think at this point, like I said, we'll skip through them because there wouldn't be many people with many trades left and only 2 weeks to go. So, it's not much doing.
Close one.
Next up, it was the Eagles over the
close one.
Raiders.
I was gonna say that loss puts one nail in the Titans' coffin, but this one was probably more important for the Raiders.
Yeah, well, there was a few teams that in trying to battle out for those last couple spots in the 8 Bogues.
It's down to the Sharks, Titans, and the Raiders still can mathematically make it, but they've got some tough games coming up.
Are you not including my boys? Are you saying they're already in?
They're already in, mate. They are clear.
Well, I mean...
mathematically they're probably not, but...
It's likely, but I wouldn't count on us winning our last 2 games, that's for sure.
You have to beat the Titans, or there'll be fucking hell to pay, you fuckers. Well, it's your opportunity... We always lose to the Titans. To have a final series up in Queensland with no Queensland clubs involved. The Knights need to get the fucking job done.
Well, if that does happen, that'll pretty much maybe not. You'd pretty much do it though. But yes, it is a bit of a battle for that last spot there, and you're right. It's probably going to be between Cronulla, Canberra, and the Titans. The Warriors maybe. I think that'd be too hard getting in there. But anyway, it was the Eagles. Tommy Turbo-less. They didn't start well. I think they were down 18-0. And or it was 12-0 at half time or whatever it was, and the Faders, as the good old Canberra Faders, fizzled out, and there was the Eagles that got home, and a Cherry Evans field goal that got them over the line. Supercoach wise, Harley Smith-Shields top scored for the Raiders, and young Tomoko as well. So a couple of young blokes there in the outside backs who looked really good. Ones to keep the eye on for next season. And on the Eagles side of the park, it was Cherry Evans top scorer with 84. Again, just goes to show no Tommy, don't play Saab with a 20, and even Garrick was pretty quiet. He pumped out a 50, which isn't too bad, but again, nothing like the scores we've seen these blokes pump out in the last couple of months. But yeah, that's probably about it. Classic-wise, Bogues. Not much else doing. Schuster was pretty quiet as well, the 50, but yeah, just a tight game. And game of the round, this was a cracker on the Friday night, 25-12. The Panthers getting home in the end over the Rabbits. Rabbits started better of the two, got away to a 12-0 lead and looked really good, but
Fucking
Panthers just
Cleary.
winning is a habit. And I mean, there was a couple of really interesting calls. There was quite a pivotal call near the end of the game where there was they call a downtown rule, Bogan. I don't know if you saw this one where Mark Nichols was in front of the play the ball when the Adam Reynolds put a kick in, and then the ball got dropped, and he picked it up, and he's actually supposed to be able to play. And anyway, it was a debacle. Ended up being a Penrith penalty, which they took the two and went in front, and then the momentum sort of seemed to shift after that. So anyway, it was a great game of footy. If that's what the finals is going to be like, it was a cracker. I thought the Rabbitohs might get them, and they definitely started the better of the two, but the Rabbits just couldn't go on with it, and Penrith somehow managed to be equal at half time. It was Nathan Cleary top scored for the Penny Panthers. He's just a freak. 86 there. Coruscant scored the sealer at the end to bump his score up there with the 71. You also had Gagai, who had a good game on the Rabbit side with Cookie as well. Murray was pretty solid. Latrell and Walker was sort of not MIA. I mean, Latrell scored a try, but Walker definitely wasn't as didn't have as much of an impact on the game as he has in the last couple of weeks. So anyway, it was a cracker of a game. I definitely thought the Rabbits might be able to get them, but maybe Penrith's starting to come good again at the right time of the year now they got Cleary back. Pangai got out there as well. First, he got his club debut with Penrith too. He was, wasn't too bad. He didn't play too many minutes. But yeah, he could be a big asset to their team as they run into finals as well. A guy that you can bring off the bench like that. Yeah, I'm really keen to see how he goes to finish the year with Penrith too. Yeah, apart from that, AJ was pretty quiet. Obviously, not many tries in this one and nothing down that left edge. So AJ was quiet on his return, and yeah, probably about it, Bugs. Oh, Aikens. Shieldsy cost you. What happened? Did you have him, or did you have him and he didn't do well, or did you captain him or something? What happened? Anyway, this was a touch-up, Bogues. Sharkies putting 50 on the Tigers, high-scoring game, 70 points in this one. Yeah, as you can see there, tries everywhere for the Sharkies team and plenty of big scores. The wingers in particular, Mulatalo, Katoa, Braden Trindle's had some really good games in the last month or so. I think he's been a bit of probably a guy that would have been picked up in drafts, definitely not in Classic, but he looked really good. Luke Metcalf, Bogan's a young half coming through there. I'm not sure where he is in the picture for them for next season in terms of a halfback position. Obviously, SJ moving on, and he's obviously getting a bit of an opportunity at the moment. But he's a brilliant young footballer. He looks awesome, and 95. I think it was only his second or third game, first grade game on the weekend as well, and he's awesome. I know it was only against the Tigers, but they got some good things happening there at Cronulla with a couple of their young blokes. You got Metcalf, you got Will Kennedy. I think Jesse Ramian, Blake Maley, I think they've got a good nucleus there, and they'll add a few probably with Fitzgibbon joining next season, and be keen to see whether they can sort of bounce back to become a threat in the next couple of years again. Tigers side of the park, yeah, look, team that gets pumped by 30 and has 50 point on them, you wouldn't expect much to be doing, but Cheekham top score with a 95. Luciano wasn't bad with a 66. Big one out of this one, I think Adam Dewey's ruled out for the rest of the year, Bogan. So I think there was some sort of, I know it was an ACL sprain or something like that, but he'll be gone for the rest of the season. I think he's broken the bubble now, so he's out, which is a bit of a shame.
When we get to Parramatta, make a Sivo as well.
Yeah, make a Sivo confirmed ACL, yes. But yeah, just disappointing from the Tigers. I thought they might be able to get the job done here, but Cronulla is the sort of team, especially when a couple of these guys like Kennedy and Katoa and stuff start to get a bit of space and playing some good footy, that can be a bit hard to stop, we've seen. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Next game of the round was Oh, Newcastle. Wowee. Just every week they make it harder and harder to watch. They got the win over the Dogs eventually. It, again, wasn't convincing, wasn't pretty, nothing special. Um, yeah, look, we could have lost it. It looked like the Dogs might have been, about to cause an upset watching some of this game, but got the job done in the end. I think the Dogs scored a late try, an Ockenbaugh freakish sort of effort off a kick to give them a last chance to win the game or to tie the game, but Knights got the job done. It was an important win for us to try and stitch up a spot in that top eight, Bogues, as we were talking about earlier. Jake Clifford scored with the Newcastle side with a 98. You got Connor Watson with a 95, so he was brilliant. Barnett was quite good as well. Clem with the DSAF out. I guess, the interesting name in that list that probably would have let a lot of people down would have been KP. So only a 43 from Ponga. Plenty of people had the C on him and hoped that he would put them to the sword, but didn't happen. He's been really disappointing and not sure what's happening, whether he's busted. We sort of mentioned maybe he's playing busted or he's just not looking himself, old KP. So anyway, that would have stung a few. And on the dog side of the park, a top scorer, Ryan James with an 82. He did score a try, the big man, so that would have inflated his score a little bit. Josh Jackson ended up having a HIA, so his scores down a little bit. But again, not much else doing in that dog side anyway to write home about that you'd probably be worrying about at this point in the year, folks.
They all went to the nightclub to celebrate after.
Well, yeah.
That one I disagree with. He shouldn't be any shit for that.
I'll be honest, I don't really read into that sort of shit because it just doesn't interest me, Bogan. I wouldn't really be able to say much about it apart from some of the headlines, but
I'll say it.
was it a COVID breach?
No,
Was it a breach of
no,
like a rules around COVID or something?
They said it was an incident in a Gold Coast nightclub, right? Or Gold Coast restaurant, which makes it sound like it was like a fucking Blue or something like that. He got busted in the men's toilets making out with one of the Broncos women's players. And I immediately thought, just to get rid of maybe a couple of our 7 viewers currently watching, I immediately thought they should be encouraging the men's players and the women's players to fuck. We need some sort of horse racing style thoroughbred rugby league players where we ensure that both the mother and the father have skill and the future generation of rugby league players will be super players.
You're an idiot.
But you should come on, man. Like, that's not scandalous. Having a fucking getting busted, having a smooch. That was not what it was revealed, was it? Was that what they actually ended up? Was it reported or alleged? That's what the female Broncos players come out and said it was.
Well, there was also speculation that there was other things happening in the toilet. So who knows? They were asked to leave for whatever reason. Like, I don't even give a fuck. But Elliott's obviously had multiple issues and brought the game into disrepute for a number of reasons. Someone like that should just be keeping his head down and not doing that sort of thing in public, regardless of, just fucking hell, man. You're in a privileged position. You're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to play football.
Yeah, but that's always the way. And anyway, you know how it is. Like, we've grown up around footy players and stuff like that. A lot of them, not the smartest people going.
No, that's right. They're definitely not.
Like, yeah. And don't get me wrong. Every time I say fucking footy players are stupid, someone comes out and says, "Oh, such and such has a PhD," and it's like they're an outlier. Okay, I went to Arundel College, a fucking rugby league college. Those blokes were numpties, and they knew what their place was. They were there because they fucking can play footy well. They weren't fucking academics at all. Like, they're just good fucking athletes. And a lot of people tend to forget how fucking young footy players are as well. So, if it comes out that they've fucking injured someone or something like that, I say fuck. Young people are going to be young people. You put them in the fucking same spot, there's going to be some fucking debauchery going. I think
Well, yeah,
where
I
does it
mean,
get to? It's not like there's been some players that have done fucking heinous shit and their career has continued. Like, uh,
Matt Lodge, mate.
oh yeah,
Well, other guys that have had
fucking
much more serious things back in the 80s and that.
Parker.
Mm.
So yeah, it's pretty rough. I hope fucking Elliot can fucking pull his head in and find a club somewhere and play his way back into getting himself back on
Oh, and
track.
I mean, he's obviously got some issues there he needs to deal with, whether it's the drink or who knows what. But he's a good footy player, so it'd be good to see him sort himself out. A bit of a disappointing end of the season for the Dogs there,
He
and
needs to keep it in his fucking pants by the sounds of things.
yeah, well, Shieldsy, you're right, mate. Elliot is a dog on heat, mate. So, anyway, and we digress. Anyway, the Dogs nearly won this game. Newcastle got the job done. They just got it done. So.
Well, they needed to because it might keep them in the eight. It might keep them alive for the first week of the finals. Then,
Oh, that's what. Yeah, they want to just be in the participation award
yeah,
ceremony.
they want to do. I noticed that Manly have put out a fucking a 2021 finals series T-shirt. And it's like, ooh, you fuckers are confident of making the grand final. You just making a T-shirt for making the finals.
That's what Newcastle should be doing.
Yep, yep. 2021 finalists.
I will take that. I'll fucking take a shirt. It's been a while.
Speaking of limping in based on their early season form, Parramatta Eels getting the job done over the Cowboys. Though no Benny around at the moment, but you wouldn't be feeling confident as a Parramatta supporter at the moment, would you?
No, you wouldn't, Bogues. I mean, they won the game, but they looked like they were sort of. I think they got away to a good start, but the Cowboys sort of bounced back at them. But yeah, the scoreline's probably a bit flattering for Para there. But 32-16 it was. Mitch Moses top scored 99. You had, yeah, probably, this is their first win, and I don't know how long, but they did need it. They play Melbourne this week, so we'll see how long that lasts. But Gutho was relatively quiet with 59. You had IPAP's completely broken since he's been moved to the front row. He's only playing 45, 50 minutes, which is a real pain in the arse, and he's been named to start in the front row again this week. So thank you, Brad Arthur, for ruining IPAP to finish the year and actually killing me with him in a couple drafts as well. Yes, and as you alluded to a bit earlier, Suvo Bogues, he went down pretty early. ACL, it has been confirmed, so Paul Maker will miss probably the best part of the next half.
I was going to say they're not expecting him back until sometime into next season.
Yeah, so those can be sort of 6 to 8 month recoveries depending on how they go. So if you put us through to sort of June, well, not June, but April-ish sort of next year, you might miss the first month or so. Depends how it goes.
And I was thinking about it. Those fucking massive tree trunks he's got fucking strapped to his waist would take a long time to heal. That much fucking meat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it didn't look good. I thought he actually might have broken his leg or something the way it looked. It didn't look like an ACL, but anyway, it has come off and he was real ginger. So anyway, no good for Paul Marcasiva. Hopefully he recovers well, old mate, and see him back out there soon. I thought Will Penasini looked pretty good, the young fella who's already had a debut, but he scored for his first NRL try as well, but he showed some glimpses as well. Which I do
believe from previous shows we've agreed it's pronounced penis-ini.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Will Penasini, yeah. So, young Penasini played quite well. On the Cowboys side of the park, it was blokes you don't probably recognise names of too much, really. Top score there from Dunn with an 85. Helium Lukey, I think it is, with a 59. He actually looks a brilliant young footy player, young Lukey. Lukey, I don't even know how to say him. A few of those young blokes in there in that Cowboys side, I think, did quite well considering what's going on there as well. No Lolo, obviously, but they're just sort of rotating some young guys through. Then some plenty of good young footy players coming through there. I think the interesting one with this one, Bogues, is they threw the hammer at fullback and Val Holmes ended up switching to the wing. And I think this week Val Holmes has been named at centre and the hammer's back at fullback. So I don't know whether they're thinking more long term. Tabadai Fidow is better suited to the fullback position, and we might see Val shift in a bit or find a wing. I'm not sure, but yeah, interesting to see that. I think Hammer's a great little footy player. He's so quick. Give him any sort of space, he's devastating. So I do like the idea of him chiming in at fullback there, but we'll have to wait and see how that combination evolves and what they do there. And shout out to the Cuzzy for the lowest score for the Cows there with a 27. Moving on, it was on the Sunday, the Dragons and the Roosters. The Roosters getting that job done pretty convincingly in the end, 40-22. It was a pretty Roosters jumped away, then the Dragons got back with them. And looked like we had a game on our hands, but it was some brilliance of young James Tedesco in the end. 182 Supercoach points. I think he had 3 try assists, 3 line break. I wouldn't even know. I haven't got his stat line in front of me. But he absolutely killed it. There was plenty of people that had the C on him, so a great way to finish the weekend there on the Sunday afternoon. Daniel Tupu, I think, scored a hat-trick. He was pretty quiet, but ended up finding some quick tries near the end of the game. Hutchinson probably had one of his best games, 109 there. Same with Isaac Liu. Sam Walker came off the bench, folks. They started the game with Lamb and Hutchinson in the halves, and Sammy Walker ended up coming on, which was interesting, and ended up scoring okay. I think he scored a try and set one up as well, it's funny, but yeah, interesting to see though whether they're just giving the young fella a bit of a rest to finish the year. He might be a bit busted. Oh, pardon me. What else? You got Manu in there. It's pretty, 51 at centre with nothing else really attacking stats wise in him, I don't think. Not bad. Dragon side of the park at Zach Lomax. I wish he'd stop doing this because he's just inflating his price for next year. I thought he'd have some quiet games and he might be a nice little cheapie in the centre wing for next year, but it looks like he's going to finish the year in a bit of form. Of course, he was unreal. Put Ravalawa away for a couple. Just continues to show why. He's a brilliant young footballer coming through. Wouldn't be surprised to see him fly blue in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and he should sign with someone other than the fucking Dragons, poor fucker.
Yeah, so good to see him back.
He's a fucking waste at fucking Dragons.
Be really keen to see how he goes with a couple of full seasons and pre-seasons under his belt. I think he'll be one of the best centres in the game very quickly. Yeah, Rava was pretty low scoring on that Dragon side apart from old Lomax, but yeah, it was the Teddy of old, the Teddy we all loved, and the Teddy we sort of came to love and know of in 2020. Turning back the clock, he's top scorer. I think it's his top scorer of the year with 182. So yeah, it was good from Teddy. Bit of a bounce back there. Other guys on that sheet, Jack Bird was pretty quiet back at centre. Satili Tupanua, I think, scored a try, but again, probably saved by that. So, yeah, apart from that, it was the Teddy Tupu show, and if you had Teddy as captain, you would have been frothing on this one. And to finish it off on the Sunday afternoon, it was Brisbane getting the win over the Warriors in a great contest, 24-22. And believe it or not, it was Anthony Milford who top scored for the Broncos. I think he's pretty much scored the match-winning try for them.
Where's Milford off to next year? Has that been determined yet?
He's off to South, mate. He's off to Wayne.
Oh, that's right. Fuck. Well, hopefully this is the start of him starting to wake up and come back to some old form.
Well, look, I mean, he'll be under Bennett again. We'll see what happens. Bennett obviously wins.
Bennett's last season this year. We've got what?
Is it?
Yeah, what's his name from the Sharks? Got sacked by the Sharks.
Flanagan?
No.
Morris.
Yeah.
Really? Is that unconfirmed?
I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but it's Bennett's last season this season. Yeah.
Oh fuck! I hadn't even heard that. There you go. Well, maybe Milford will.
Hold on, I will see if that's confirmed.
Oh, that's all right. You're probably right. I just hadn't heard that at all. I'll continue on though. Payne Haas was the other best man on the park for Brisbane, as always, an 85 there. He had a bit of a line break, the big man. I actually had the C on Payne Haas. I thought he might have turned up after he got that line break. It would have been nice, but we'll take an 85. Coates a double, 65. The Warriors side of the park, it was young Patahiku, top scored, well not young, but Patahiku with a 91, AFB with an 81, Reece Walsh with a 71. Curran with a 70 with a try and ended up going off with a bit of it looked like to be a bit of an issue. He has been named this week, but maybe keep an eye out on team lists. They do play early in the...
John Morris is an assistant coach for the Rabbitohs for 22 and 23, and Jason Demetrio will be the head coach.
There you go. I had not heard Bennett was done. There you go.
No, Bennett's been determined. He's been done for a while, but there's talk of Bennett will be the inaugural coach for whoever wins the bid for the new Queensland team. I think it's pretty much all but confirmed that all three of those bidding franchises want his services. So I know he's been linked with the Brisbane Jets, and he's been linked with the Redcliffe Dolphins as well. I don't know about the third one.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there you go. Yeah, so a good contest this one. Brisbane sort of reigning on the Warriors' top 8 parade a bit. They needed to win this one, the Warriors. Reece Walsh's goal kicking probably cost them in the end. I think they scored 5 tries to 4. So young Reece Walsh will have to get back out on the training paddock and practice a bit this week. Notable out of this one, I still think Cobbo looks a brilliant footy player, Bogues. I know I said it a couple of weeks ago, but he looks real dangerous. Pretty keen to see how he develops, and I'd imagine he's probably going to keep a home in that centre spot for him now, especially if Staggs moves into 5'8" next season. So, yeah, big fan of Cobbo. Looking forward to him next couple of years. What else? Aiken was pretty quiet. He got a really dubious try, Bogan, awarded at the very end of the game, which got him back to 22-24. I don't know how it got given a try, and it cost me that fucking draft that I lost with 9 players as well. I lost by 10, and that try got awarded, and he had Aiken. So anyway, but yeah, it was a good. I did watch a bit of this game, and it was a good contest. Yeah, it was a battle to the end. It was a good game of footy.
I know it's a mathematical long shot, but wouldn't it be nice if the Warriors could squeeze into the 8? Like, they probably
it would. Needed to win.
They're probably the team that fucking deserves it the past 2 years the most.
100%. If any team deserves some free competition points, it's the Warriors, that's for sure. But it wasn't to be, and yeah, that was round 23, folks.
Well, poor old Shields, by himself in the chat. Got a few people watching.
Lighting it up, Shieldsy. Well done, mate. I love your work.
Redcliffe has the coin. It should be them. Yeah. I like the Dolphins as a team name as well. And to be fair, until they name players and coaching staff and shit, that's all you can go by. Who's got the best mascot and who's got the fucking best colour scheme? I would have liked... was that you? Is someone calling in? Oh, we've lost Brent Hampton. Sorry, guys. Just reconnecting now. So you get to listen to me talk about teams in Queensland that I notoriously hate. Brent, are you back? Hello, Brent, are you back?
I'm back now. Sorry, I don't know what was going on.
We had some problem with the tin can connection. It's raining in Canberra the past couple of days, so that means the internet's down.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. I don't know what was happening there.
Yeah, I was just crapping on about Queensland teams. Who do you reckon, Brent? We'll get that. I was about to say I would prefer the Jets to win, but to stay the Ipswich Jets, so they have a little bit of a geographical differentiation from Brisbane. and they're a long-standing club in the area, so there's a lot of tradition there. So they have a lot of supporters in those areas. But if I had to pick one, I'd go the Dolphins because that's a good. I'd always prefer teams that have mascots that are animals.
And what are they? Because I thought they were trying to get another Brisbane, like
It's
you know,
well,
Bullets or whatever,
it's
or
in that.
Bombers. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the Brisbane Jets is the bid.
Ah, okay. All right.
But Ipswich, as most people fucking know, is basically part of fucking Brisbane. I know people from there might hate me saying that, but
Yeah, well, interesting to see. I think they want that in the next couple of years, don't they? In 2023 or something.
yeah, well, the fucking Broncos better start performing because it used to be we need a second Brisbane team because the Broncos are too strong. It's like, well, hasn't saved the Broncos this year.
Well, then the only other bids I'm aware of would be another second New Zealand team, which probably won't
No,
happen.
it's three Brisbane teams.
Oh, is it three bid? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so I'd go Redcliffe Dolphins. I don't think they should be called Brisbane. That shit's just fucking confusing. But
yeah, I'd be happy with the Redcliffe Dolphins. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
All right.
But there is another one too. They're all cashed up. They're all cashed to the fucking gills. They're mad. If they all just joined together, they could have one unstoppable consortium. But it'll be what it'll be. We'll see what happens there. Anyway, on to this week's games.
Beautiful, beautiful. So round 24, first up it'll be Titans
Big game.
and Newcastle.
Big
It
game.
is a big game.
Could have
in the context of the 8.
Yep, could have an effect on the 8. Knights need to get the job done and fuck the Titans. Fuck them.
Yes. I think if Newcastle win this game, they guarantee themselves a spot in the 8. If they lose, they probably still a reasonable chance, but their for and against isn't good. So, they want to win this one to cement it. But the Titans are just as eager to keep trying to win these games to give themselves every chance. Still on no Brimson for the Titans there, so young Jaden Campbell will be back at fullback. No Ash Taylor, so Tyron Peachey will slide into the 6. Mazu, interestingly, has dropped out of the side with Philip Sammy returning, so that probably hurts a few super coaches in Classic at this point because he was doing quite well in the last couple of weeks. He is on the extended bench, so we'll have to wait and see, but at this stage, it doesn't look like he's going to play. Big Dave Fafita has been relegated to the bench as well. What's doing there? Who knows? He's just fallen off a cliff, really, to finish the year. I don't know what's going on there with him. Pardon me. Newcastle side of the park, I think pretty much unchanged from last week. Frizzell comes back into the side, so Jones drops to the bench. Clemmer apparently is going to miss a game though because he's taken the early guilty plea, so he will miss this week. Apart from that, unchanged. No Fitzgibbon still in the night sides, which is good for Barnett and any Watson owners as well. So I think you could see a pretty good game out of Watson and probably Barney again. I think Tyson Frizzell for a bit of a pod to finish the year. But yeah, plenty of people with owning KP will hope he can do something in this one and probably a bit of a dabble at a VC.
And
possibly start the year.
The Knights will be looking to pull their finger out, otherwise they are just making up numbers.
Oh, let's be honest, that anyone outside that top 4 is making up numbers, really. Although we could be playing, if we win this game, we're probably highly likely to be playing Parramatta round 1 of the finals. So, I mean, what a blockbuster of a game that'd be.
Stranger things have happened in rugby league. Now, Kane Anderson in the chat. What are you doing, Kane? What are you doing? You got to stay strong. You can't be weak like me. You got to keep the Brisbane Bears. That's what you should be pushing for. Surely the copyright from the AFL has already lapsed.
Oh, look, old Ken. I may. If I like who they recruit, I might. Come on, Ken. Just a bit of patriotism, mate. Get behind it. Don't have to
I'll tell you what. If it was the Dolphins and they fucking if it's the Dolphins and they have a good enough colour scheme, I might even look at it. But do my thing, and I always said if the Bears got back in, I'd send all my jerseys to Russell Crowe with a thank you note. And I've got a lot of Bears jerseys as well. I get 2 Bears jerseys every year, but I got a lot of South jerseys, so it'd be a big box of jumpers that would show up at fucking Russell Crowe's farm. They'd probably have the bomb squad check it before he opened it. But I always said if the Bears got back in, I'd send all my jerseys to Russ with a thank you note. Thank you and goodbye, and see you on the footy field. But
Well, there you go. He just said if you do, he's with you.
yeah, well, but here's the thing. Fuck the Titans. Now, fuck the Titans because they were competing with the Bears. And if the Bears were putting in for this expansion as well, I'd be all on board with that and hate the team who wins it as well. But they seem to have limited it to fucking Queensland.
Well, they want to expand in Queensland what V'landys gets once he gets on PVL. So, anyway, I'm back to the Supercoach.
On to the next one, eh?
6 o'clock on the Friday. So the first game on the Friday, second game of the round. It'll be the Warriors taking on the Raiders. And again, another big game in the context of the top 8. The Raiders will be hoping to win this one to keep themselves in with a chance.
Or the Warriors are still mathematical possibilities as well, and they're reliant on the Raiders to lose.
They need to beat Canberra to go level with them, essentially, and then they would need the Titans to lose and also Cronulla to lose, and we'll have 4 teams on 20 points going into the last round, which would be interesting. And then you've also got the Dragons and Tigers who could potentially be on 20 by the end of the round, but Tigers play Panthers, so that's not going to happen. On the Warriors side of the park, Matty Lodge returns, so that's a big in for my classic team trying to push for the top 11K. JTB drops back to the bench. Curran has been named. I don't know what the issue was with him. It looked like he was carrying a shoulder, but it could have been a head knock. But just keep an eye out on team list with Curran just to make sure he's playing early game, 6 o'clock, so you'll know by 5 o'clock on Friday if you've got him. Just keep an eye on that one. Egan's back promoted into the starting side with Tavanga dropping to the bench. On the Canberra side of the park, Nickel Clockstead named to come off the bench again. Young, Tomoko, Smith Shields holding down their spots. So no Jared Croker. Matt Frawley is in for Sam Williams. Looks like he must have been dropped. Apart from that, obviously no CHN. So Hudson Young's still got one of those edges. Ryan Sutton at lock, but yeah, at this point, there's not much happening in these 2 teams apart from maybe Ewan Aitken still Bogues if you want to chuck him in at the centre wing if you're looking for something. I think he's still got a bit of value there for a last trade in down in the centre wing.
Shieldsy in the chat. Shouldn't Perth be the next team in? There was a bit of talk of a franchise being propped up by Benny Elias of all people called the Perth Pirates that they were setting up to bid for expansion. I don't know what happened to that, but there's a lot of South African expats in Perth, so you're right. They're more into rugby union over there. That being said, I went over to Perth a couple of years back for work and met up with a colleague over there, and he was actually a rabid Rabbitohs fan because that was when the Rabbitohs were playing there a couple of games a year over in Perth, and he absolutely loved them. So there'd probably be some support for a Western Australian team if they could fucking travel.
I don't think it's sustainable. Anyway.
Sorry to get off track, Brent. I know you want to keep things Supercoach relevant.
Not at all. I didn't realise that either, Shilsy. Ricky Stewart recalled Ryan James and hasn't named him this week. That's a perler. Nice one, Ricky. The second game on the Friday night will be the Chooks taking on the Rabbitohs.
Traditional rivalry. The 4 is pretty much confirmed.
Not really. If the Roosters lose this one, Manly are every chance. Parramatta can still make it, but they'll probably lose to Melbourne. So, I mean, the Chooks will want to win this game to keep themselves in the top 4, and they're still not guaranteed. They'd have to win their last 2 games. with Manly chomping at the bit. This is a big game for the Roosters if they want to finish in the top four because Manly have finished with the Cows and the Dogs. This is a very losable game for the Roosters. So this will be a big game. South will be looking to put them away. A lot on the line for the Roosters. I don't think I've seen enough from the Roosters this season to suggest that they could win this game. They were probably pretty good at times in that game on the weekend, but just defensively they're not there, and they're just not looking like the same team. Obviously, with all the injuries they've had, no cohesion really in the side. So
bring back Adelaide.
Supercoach.
Bring back Adelaide Rams, says JP.
Oh yeah,
especially with their colour scheme, mate. Like
poor colour scheme, no good. Supercoach wise, you got your usual suspects out there in James Tedesco, Tupu, Brad Abbey. Interestingly, is in this. Copley's out of the side, obviously, so Brad Abbey gets his club debut for the Chooks, I'd imagine. Takiaho's there starting the front row till he's got that all locked down. It'd be hard to bring anyone in from that Chook side this week unless it was Teddy, and even then it's a bit of a dicey one. On the south side of the park, they're pretty much, dare I say, full strength. Colin Matungi's missing. He's got the couple week ban, so he'll be back for finals. But yeah, Latrell, Cody, you got Gagai, Campbell, Graham. So that 1 to 7 definitely back to full strength there for the Rabbits. But it could be a good game of footy. I'm expecting South to give it to them, but South don't really have much to play for now. They've got their top 4 spots cemented. Obviously, any Bennett coach sides aren't going to go out there and just go out for a canter, but I'm sure they'd love to make the Roosters miss out on the top 4 as well, Bogue. So
there was a bit of talk earlier in the week that they were going to rest Cookie, but obviously not. Now he's been named. Playing a bit of mind games there.
Well, I think the mail is he will be rested. So watch out for Peter Mamazoulis, the number 20 that's been named for the Rabbits, and see what happens there. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I did hear that as well. You're right. That Cookie might be getting a bit of a rest this week. First game on the Saturday, and it will be an absolute blockbuster for the Drag.
They've got it all to play for.
Just waiting for JP to make a
shout out to my
Rockhampton joke.
Fuck, you get fucking timed out again. Fucking shout out to my brother who will probably be going along to this one, mate. They've sent you a blockbuster.
Yeah, all the big fixtures up there in Rocky. So the Dragons are taking on the Cows. Supercoach wise, whether there's people with Lomax, Jack Bird. There's not much else doing there. Interestingly, Jaden Sullivan's been named at hooker, so that's quite good. And Tatala Amoni at 6. So a couple of young blokes there where they're trying to figure out some combos for next season, trying to fit in Jaden and Amoni. That's interesting because they're both pretty good young footy players. Sloan's got the fullback there, so Matt Duffy has he been dropped? That'll be possibly it for him at the Dragons, I guess. On the Cowboys side of the park, as I said earlier...
Where is Duffy off to next season?
The Dogs. He has
another one with the Dogs. I tell you what, Dogs and Sharks will be interesting to watch next year. A lot of changes in that club, those two clubs.
Yeah, the Dogs in particular, some big signings there with, obviously got Burton and Duffy, and they've got Kotrick and Addo Carr there, and they'll have TPJ as well. So I still think they need to find a hooker, probably a better hooker. I don't know. I thought maybe Brandon Smith or something might end up there, but yeah, definitely be a different looking Canterbury side next season. On that Cow side of the park, as I said, the hammer back at fullback, Val Holmes at centre, which is interesting. I don't think we've seen too much of Val at centre, so I don't know whether they're just experimenting at the back end of the year now just because there's not much left to play for, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Lolo is back, has been named at prop, which again is a bit of an unusual position to see Lolo at. Obviously pretty similar to lock, but fitting Ruben Cotter into the side there at lock. But yeah, like I said, for many of these games for the last few weeks, there's probably nothing worth bringing in there at this point of the year in Classic. It's just, unless you're looking for a bit of a pod, to finish your head-to-head matchups, semis, grand finals. You might be looking at a couple of these guys, but if you're playing overall, maybe a Lomax would be probably it. Second game on the Saturday, you had your entree with with the Dragons and the Cowboys, and then you
It
get brought
certainly is a super Saturday. They've realised fucking everyone's in lockdown, so they're gonna ruin their fucking night in by serving up these fucking shit games on Super Saturday.
It will be the Sharkies taking on the Broncos. Sharkies home game at Suncorp. Shocked me there.
That being
More
said,
favouritism for the Broncos.
Sharks will be keen to win this one and once again secure or look to secure that 8th spot.
You're right, Bogues. It's a big game in the context of the ladder. If the Titans lose to Newcastle, depending on what happens between Canberra and the Warriors, Cronulla can almost seal a top 8 spot there. So another big game, but Brisbane haven't been playing too badly. They've been reasonably decent at times in the last month or two. So I think they'll be looking to rain the parade. And I think Brisbane usually play pretty well against Cronulla from memory. Last few times they've met, but Cronulla are in a bit of a run at the moment. They've got these young blokes in there, like Will Kennedy's just playing some brilliant footy. Lukey Metcalf, as I said, brilliant young player coming through. Trindle's also been playing some really good footy. No Militano, so Hiroti comes onto the wing. Katoa's back there. Tracy and Ramin in the centres. Talakai's still been named on the edge, but you got Tej Wilton now in the 17, so he'll probably take some of his minutes. So Talakai's just probably going to absolutely fall off a cliff for relevance in the last 2 weeks with Wilton back. On the Brisbane side of the park, just trying to find anything of relevance in there apart from Payne Haas, and I can't see it. So,
fucking Anthony Milford, potentially, if he's looking to fucking play himself into some form at the end of the season.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Not for Classic. Maybe in draft if you're desperate for a 6 in your side, or you need like a try scorer. Maybe you could go a Coates or a. I don't know, but
what do you think of TC Rabati? He had a couple of decent games there earlier on in the season. He's sitting there on the bench at the moment.
He looks a beast, Bogue. He's a big monster of a thing. I don't know what sort of engine he's got on him. I don't know how many minutes he's gonna be able to get under his belt, but he can score tries, and he's like I said, an absolute beast of a kid. I don't think he's had a huge opportunity this year. I think there was one game where he played 75 minutes according to this. But yeah, I just don't know what role he ends up getting, whether he, with a couple of the guys that have moved on with the preseason under his belt, whether he ends up locking down a lock position or he finds an edge. I'm not sure what his best position is. He was real dangerous playing on the edge for him in one of the games there. I think he scored a double. But I think he looks awesome. He passes the eye test. It'll just be a matter of what sort of player how they try to use him, I guess. Whether they chuck him in the middle to use him like a big Nelson type mould, or chuck him on the edge to try and cause some trouble out on the edge with some attack or something like that. Not too sure. But yeah, he looks good. You got any thoughts on him?
Definitely not for this season, but might be a sneaky one to pick up next season. That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm looking now.
No, it's always good. We got fucking no point looking at the rest of this year. May as well start planning for next year. Yeah, but otherwise there's nothing doing there. I wouldn't even worry about it. Man, then a big
could
game.
Be ugly.
The dessert on Saturday evening with the Storm taking on the Eels. There was a lot of speculation that because a couple, particularly, well, probably not. I mean, Melbourne pretty much just have to win this game to guarantee them on a premiership because their points difference is so good, and they've obviously equalled the longest winning streak record as well with their win last week, Bogan. So they'll be looking to break all sorts of records this week against Para, and they are against Para. So Pappy's at the back there. They're back to full strength with Munster and Hughes. Brandon Smith comes back into the side, so he's pushed Harry Grant back to the bench, which is a shame for Grant owners, but if Grant's still getting his 50 to 60 minutes, it'll be fine. No George Jennings. Jeremiah comes into the side there onto the wing, but they look and they're pretty much primed for this time of year. The old Bronx. Nicho Hynes drops back to the bench. That's pretty big news with Jerome Hughes moving back into the side. So if you were one of these guys that had a trade or two left, I think the trade will be looking to get off Hynes
It'd be
and
heaps a
transition
lot of
to.
money to be sitting on the bench.
Yeah, and like I said, you could go to someone like an Aiken or a Lomax, or I don't know where you've got him. But yeah, you're probably looking to get off him now, especially for these last 2 weeks. I don't think there's anything wrong with one of your last two trades now getting off.
But if you're still in it to win it and you've got trades left, you're probably already pretty comfortable with the team you've got. So
yeah, I mean it'll probably be a big point of difference because this has been a guy that a lot of people have had. So this is going to be an important move in probably a lot of teams, whether it's head-to-heads or finishing the year for overall, will be what you do with Nicho Hynes with that last trade. So I think there's some good options out there. Good luck if you got him. Thank fuck I don't have him, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, probably now's the time to go. And if you've only got the one trade, you're probably going to end up having 200,000 left in the bank because he's probably worth that much, I guess. On the Para side of the park, again, there was some speculation they might have been resting a few guys, but there's not really much being rested there at this point. All the usuals are still there: Gutho, Brown, Moses, IPAP. They can't really afford to rest anyone, I don't think. There's just been no cohesion there. They need to try and start playing some good footy again, and this is probably a good test for them in the lead up for finals. So I think BA will be hoping they can get up and, maybe they can shock the world with this one, but I'm expecting, Storm are going to run all over them, as they have to most teams this season.
JP in the chat has said go to Tio. Hynes to Tio would be a good trade, yeah.
Yeah. So that is also big news. We'll probably get to that very shortly, but yeah, a good call, JP. Oh, I hear you, brother. That's a great one. That's probably about it, Bogues. Like I said, IPAP's absolutely busted playing at prop. His minutes are down. It's just completely fucked. But what do you do? You're just only letting him play like 45, 50 minutes, which is just absolutely killer. Mainly for my draft teams that I've got him in, but Jesus Christ, BA, you're absolutely killing me. 46 minutes on the weekend. Fuck me, and 55 the week before. No good. No good. Decisions. Anyway. And then the first game on the Sunday will be what will possibly be slaughter of the weekend. Tommy Turbo back in the side against the Dogs. No points for guessing who 95,000% of people will have the captaincy on this week. Although the next game's quite an interesting one, so there might be some people trying to VC into Cleary captain the game after this, but it'll be a little bit tricky. Parker's back, so with Turbo back, you got Saab with relevance, Garrick with relevance. Who else is there? I think they're pretty much full strength, that Manly side. I don't know if there's too much really to change. They're just absolutely flying. They want to take some momentum into the finals, and Turbo could break his 226-point record or whatever it is this weekend, potentially against this Dogs side. He could score 250 this week, Bogues. On the Dogs side of the park, just don't go near it. They're going to be spending a lot of time standing under the post in this one. Josh Jackson will be defending while he's out there, but you couldn't touch anything in that Dogs side in Classic, and it'd be a stretch in draft as well. And that's, like you said, to Jackson or something like that. A couple of big outs, probably. Well, in particular, Luke Thompson, who will miss a couple of weeks, I think, got done for a crusher. These crushers are just absolutely ridiculous, can I say, Bogan? There's blokes just not even doing anything, and a bloke turns into him and they're calling a crusher and the bloke's getting 2 to 3 weeks. It's just fucking ridiculous.
I do question whether, obviously there is wrestling techniques probably made most famous by the Storm that have been introduced to slow the play the ball down and shit like that. But a lot of the times I do see these charges and think, well, that's just the tussle of the tackle. There's no intent to put the person in that position. So, yeah.
There's been a number of them. The one that Gus Crichton got done for was a joke. The one that Luke Thompson got done for was a joke. And you see him in every game. I don't know. They're going to have to sort something out because at the moment it's not
Well,
right
my
what
question
they're
is
doing.
who
So
judges that? Do they get MMA experts or jiu-jitsu experts or something like that to come in and testify that there was intent there to put that actual maneuver on? Like, I'm not sure.
no, I think there's any sort of pressure on the neck in a particular angle, and that's a crusher. So, but you're right. I think there needs to be something else done there because the way that blokes are trying to twist and get quick advantages in the ruck by
Yeah.
getting, onto their back and onto their belly so they can get a quick play of the ball. They're spinning, and anyway, what the one that Thompson got done for was a joke. So he has copped. I don't know if it was a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, but that hurts because he only just came back. But yeah, apart from that, not much doing out there. Brace yourselves, Dogs fans. And Tommy Turbo, I can only assume someone tells him that he's a Supercoach god because the way the guy scores, it's just phenomenal. I don't know if his brothers play Supercoach or what's doing. Someone has got to have worded him up because he's just on another planet. And he broke the hearts of many Supercoaches last week, but I think he'll be able to repay the faith this week against the Dogs. I reckon you'll possibly break the bloody record this week again. His own record that he broke 2 weeks ago.
Or he'll do his hammy, and that's the end of Manly for the year.
Well, there's also every chance he gets an early shower if they're up by 40 or 50. That'll be the only reason why he won't. So don't say that. Don't say that he'll do a hammy. And to finish us off, it'll be, as I said, I thought 95% of 95,000% of people would be chucking the C on Tommy. It will be interesting to see how many people captain Tommy in comparison to Cleary because this is a good matchup for the Panthers. Panthers taking on the Tigers to finish us off, folks.
The Tigers are shit.
The Tigers showed last week they're a bit vulnerable, and maybe it's just a bit of a downer to finish the year.
Their best fucking player is injured, gone for the season.
Doesn't look like they're going to be able to finish ninth, so probably some disappointment in the air there for the Tigers club not being able to grab that ninth position as they usually have a pretty good stranglehold on. But yeah, it could be a big one here. Panthers here, as you said, Nathan Cleary, Brian To'o returns, which is massive, absolutely massive for anyone that held on to him. Well done. So Naden drops out of the side. I think they had Naden on the wing, so To'o takes that wing back. What else is going on there? James Fisher-Harris is back also for the Panthers, so that's a big in. They need him back as well. They've missed him a bit. TPJ's back there, so Liam Martin goes back to the bench. I'm just trying to think what happened last week. I think Martin might have started. Anyway, it doesn't matter. On the Tigers side of the park, no Adam Dewey, as we said, suspected ACL, I think, to be confirmed, but he won't play the rest of the year, which makes it pretty hard to look at that Tigers side, to be honest. Nafo's been really disappointing. Luciano's been okay. Alex Twale's been a bit of a shining light, to be honest. He's been one of the better front rowers in Supercoach for the last sort of month, I'd imagine, just off the top of my head. But holy dooly, this could be another slaughter. It could be a couple big slaughters to finish Sunday off. Could be really good for Supercoaches.
I tell you what, mate, the NRL aren't putting on the show for the final round, are they, this week?
No. So anyway, we'll see whether some early showers or some guys end up getting rested will remain to be seen. But that's the team list and how they shape up at this point in time for round 24, folks.
Alrighty. How are we going in the chat?
What's doing in the chat? Missing Paseka. Oh, so Manly aren't full strength. Missing Paseka. Cheers, JP. Brent copying Dylan Brown's haircut scene. I don't even know what. Oh, the blonde. I think he's got a blonde haircut, Shieldsy. You reckon? No chance. I reckon.
How are you shaping up against Taylor? You've whooped her?
It'll be daylight second, nighttime third. It'll be daylight fourth, and then she'd be coming in around there. So
fair enough.
I'm home. I'm all good this year. No worries. We'll just maybe have to go double or nothing next season for old Taylor to keep that hope alive. Someone will probably log into her account though, get her account details and start doing their team.
Ted will. She's in Ted.
Yeah, Tigers, it's all happening down the left, Shieldsy. I don't know. Now there's no Dewey. I've got no hope in Nofo doing anything, but that'll probably be now. He'll probably start scoring all right. Anyway, that was it. What's happening? What else we got, folks?
The group for the week, Iron Will with a 1484. Followed by Nightclub Incident, who should change his name to Restaurant Incident, because NRL players are classier than that now, with a 1471. Liam with the Hawks, it's a very traditional team name there, with a 1418. Carrick with Vintage One. We've got another player that goes by Vintage One, don't we, that Swan's about?
No, that's him. It's Carrick. It's vintage one Carrick. Yeah.
Okay, with a 1417, and also on
Yeah.
1417, the Wicked Horde, Frank. I've seen him about a few times this year as well.
Yep. Some good scores there, guys. 1400s. I didn't even crack 1,000, so you've all fucking made 500 points on me this week. Well done, guys.
And it's getting pretty tight there for the BJ and Game Day group coming into the last two rounds of the season. Brad with bottom dollar rookies. He's scored a 13-12 this week, and he's sitting in 13th overall. So still in with a chance for the herbs and spices. What do you get? A key ring, a tracksuit.
Tracksuit would be the
Tom
highlight.
Sangster's phone number. Come on, Brent. I know you've got some bullshit ones that you can add into that. He's followed very closely. About 30 points behind him is Avalon Storm Jason. He's sitting in 17th overall. So he's in with a chance to still make that, get those herbs and spices. Brendan with Smick Richards. He's probably out of it now with 2 weeks to go, you'd have to say, but still a fantastic season he's had, sitting in 123rd overall. Jimbo James, sitting in at 358th overall. And James with Perpetual Motion, who, I don't know, are you in the chat, James?
Yeah, JP.
Oh,
in there.
JP.
He's in there.
Yeah, that's now I know who you are. Sitting in 411th overall, so some great results there. Oh, and there's Carrick with vintage one as well in the top 500.
Was Shilsey on the last graphic? Shilsey got 14-16. Did we miss Shilsey?
Did we miss Shilsey? I'll go back to the last graphic.
I thought 14-16 would have made the. Is he Fletcher Zuber? I think that's him. Is that you, Shilsey? I think that's Shilsey. I'm pretty sure that's him. Well done, Shilsey. Sorry, I missed you there, brother. Big score, 14-16. Well done. Anyway,
so a couple of weeks left to go. Still got a couple of players in the BJ game day group that are in with a shot, but I believe the guy winning is a couple of hundred ahead now, isn't he? Or...
No, he's only about 100 head now. I think. Bogues. He had a bit of
one good captain's choice, and he's fucked.
And then the next bloke's not too much further behind that, so I think it's going to be a big finish and a bit of a stressful couple of weeks for Timmy Moody. But again, good luck, mate. Hopefully he gets over the line because he's been a pretty good leader. It's just these last couple of weeks he's just got to try and crawl over the line. And he actually made a massive trade, Bogues. We talked about it in our BJ chat. He actually traded Ponga to Tedesco this week. I don't know what else he did, but
good pick.
A monstrous trade in the context of, I think you think about the Knights draw, they've got they played the Bulldogs this week and then they play Titans and Brisbane, so the draw was good. Ponga's been absolutely garbage, but I mean that draw, and I mean it's Ponga at the end of the day, but that's a massive trade. And then for Teddy to come out and do what he did on the Sunday afternoon,
that's why he's on top.
He put the C on Teddy as well, so he probably would have lost the lead had he not made that trade, and he's now still just holding on. And there's every chance that trade right there possibly saves it for him and is the reason he ends up getting home. So anyway, good luck, Timmy. I think Kendo will probably know a bit more about where he's at with how many trades or whatever, but go jump over it. Quick plug to Tommy Turbo's Hammy's Cup and check out the Facebook page. You can have a look at Timmy's overall score and how he's going. And he actually got knocked out of the head-to-head this week, funnily enough. So, big couple of weeks left for Timmy.
Finals are the.
But this is what we all came for, Bogan. This is what we're here for.
That's what all eight people, the people who are in the top fours for the two leagues and the BJ and Game Day. So this is the all in. We got Clemmy versus Red Nose Dearden, and Dean with Agony of Defeat up against Extra Reckless in the semi-finals this week. So Dean, Agony of Defeat, gave Troy an absolute fucking spanking, and a
Big score there from
bit of
Dino.
a close one there for Red Nose Dearden up against Sambo.
And the winners of this will get an invite to the draft next year, isn't that right?
The two winners of these games will be our draft. Well, we'll have the option. If we can't get a hold of you, it would be Bundy again. We'll get the invite into the championship draft.
We gotta invite Footy as well if we need a wild card. Footy hasn't had we gotta get Shano in.
Of course.
He needs to start in the BJ draft. So.
We need to get Shano on the show at some point. Not just sending in clips of him doing Joshy
well, I think
challenges.
he's busy now. He's got the little ones keeping him busy.
Yeah, they'll be a year old by the start of next season though, so they'll be old enough to sit in front of an iPad for 90 minutes while he does a show.
The iPads send them wicked, mate. They're bloody banned in our house, but anyway. Yep. So good luck all the fellas in that one. Dino on a bit of a tear there. A couple of big scores the last couple of weeks, so he's looming. I think he won one of these leagues last year as well, and I'm pretty sure it was Agony of Defeat. So
he was up there, that's for sure.
Oh, look at these.
The Invitational. Speaking of Bundy, he might qualify for the Championship League legitimately for next year. If he can get up over the Adrianosaurus himself.
Well, he'd be leading the total points of the BJ Invitational as well, which we get a spot. So.
Well,
but he's run out of trades. I believe he's run out of trades.
We've got a limited number of spots, but yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, definitely some big games coming up this week in the Invitational. So you'll have Mana up against Kane Anderson and Bundy up against Adrian. You probably can't pick a more suitable top four that we're not involved in.
No, it should be a cracker. Looking forward to seeing.
And I gotta say, I'm a bit biased because I have confirmed that next week we will have Kane Anderson and Adrian on the show. So, and hopefully Josh King. So we'll have the four horsemen for the big grand final show. So it would be nice to have those two fellas looking to square off on that show.
Well, I believe Bundy will be up under the pump because he's got no trades left, and I don't think team lists have been overly kind to him. Candace, I think, burned his last trade last week, so he'd probably be all right. And he's come out of nowhere the last couple of weeks. I think he's going quite well. So these should be some cracking matches, and obviously Ados is doing quite well as well. So yes, it's going to be very interesting to see how these ones finish up. Looking forward to it.
But the big one. The one that they all want to get, the ring. The ring.
Speaking of that.
You got the ring there this week to show off?
Oh, man, I've got to get it out now. Hang on.
It's sort of a bit anticlimactic that the grand final of the draft is a week before.
Well, the reason we did that was because last year all the players that got rested going into the final round put a bit of a dampener on the whole thing. Me and Kando ended up having to reach into the draft agents, the free agencies, and replacing half our sides. So bring it forward just in case that happened again. It was every chance it could have happened again this week anyway. Bloody hell. Got stuff everywhere
somewhere
here.
There in your modern loft apartment.
All right. I found it.
This is what they're playing for, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so here we go. If you're gonna be, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, are
The ring.
you? Oh,
Well, we saw it briefly.
what's going on here? That's the white background
Yeah,
of it.
there we go. Well, yep, hold it there.
Oh,
The Supercoach Championship ring.
it's a beauty.
And I'll tell you what, there couldn't be a more fitting combination of the old school up against the new school with BJ on Game Day original Wayno, Hell's Grannies. Look at that NRL logo and everything.
The old school NRL 2021 champion going to the winner. What more can you want? Oh, Jesus, I've lost it here. Anyway, it's on the line. The silverware is on the line.
And you are correct, viewers, in assuming that is genuine 24 carat glass that is embedded into that S there. So it's expensive stuff. I believe that cost you what, about $1.2 million, Breno?
Oh, mate, it was upwards of that, I think. So,
So the big prize, the championship ring, it's either going to go to the OG Wayno with Hell's Grannies or Adrian, the Adrianosaurus. He'll be able to brag about the ring and show off his bling. You'll be able to hear it tapping on the microphone during his own show next week. So
yeah, looking forward to it. I've done a bit of a wrap on the finals. I missed out on last week's game, but Tomo didn't. I don't think Tomo did his team, so he didn't have two players play and got done by 50. So I think had he done that, he probably would have got over. But Ados is in. He'll take on the Grannies who walked through after just sort of. I think they didn't limp into the
yeah, he
finals,
came
but they
second overall. Oh,
well,
third
third,
overall.
and it was pretty tight between him, Mana, and Trent. But he's there, so it should be a cracker. Looking forward to this, and yeah, looking forward to getting that ring out to
Now,
whoever it is
now
that takes out the title.
Wayno and Adrian, as you might notice there, have faced off in this final series one time before, and Wayno got the better of him.
Yeah, so a bit of an opportunity for revenge here for Living Tavita Loca, and also Wayno to go through the final series undefeated and clean sweep them all from third. So should be good.
To crown the first inaugural champion who's not, well, Adrian may as well be considered a host. Actually, he might be keeping that tradition alive. But good luck to all involved in the finals this week. I know I'm not. I think I'm in the semis for one public league or something. The public league that they automatically put you in when you draft your team. That's it.
Yeah, I'm in nothing. It's fucking all about draft for me. Yes, Ados had a draw against Marta and then got up due to some fortuitous management from Tomo. So,
It definitely would be a rocky story for Adro to win this, considering the hard run he's had through the final series.
I know he's got Dewey, so that's going to hurt him. But I think Hell's Grannies is pretty active, so I don't think it'll be a couple players short. So I might chuck up the matchups on the Facebook post that I've put up and follow this one over the weekend.
That's it for the week.
Beautiful, Bogan. Love your work, mate. Cracking show as always, mate. Anything else you want to shout out before we zip off?
Not really. Not really. Nothing really going on. Stuck in my house.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it, with us Canberrans at the moment. Look, like I said, shout out to the Turbo's Hammies Cup. Go and check that out if you haven't already on Facebook. Follow how that's all going. I'm somehow not last overall. I don't know how that's happening. And what else is there, Bogan? I don't know. Like and subscribe to our stuff.
Rate, subscribe, thumbs up, share. Tell your mum. Tell your dog. Tell your cat. To all subscribe.
Cheers, everyone, for joining us. So a few other ones in the chat. Jason Avalon, Tomo JP, Oh, Shieldsy, Candos, thanks guys, legends. I know it's getting a bit long in the tooth at this point of the year, but thanks for joining us as
And
always.
bring your beers next week because we're celebration of the year, I guess, as we go into the last main show for the year. We'll probably do a follow up quick one just to wrap up the leagues. Probably a couple of weeks into the finals, but next week is the grand finale for the season, and join us. Hopefully, hashtag bully Josh to make sure that he's on the show next week. But hopefully, we'll have Brent, Josh, Kane, and Ados.
Sounds good, Bogues. Love your work, mate. Cheers, guys. I'll see you next week.